We have our next question which says the following SAS program is submitted, and the question is which macro call prints all records from each dataset in library db is equal to. So let us take a look at the code. It says libname db period, which means the root location wherever the program is saved, and then access is equal to read only has been used on libname statement. And then we have this macro which is called as print lib, and there are two parameters in it. The first one is lib is equal to, and the second one is rec is equal to. These are keyword based parameters. So there are two kinds of parameters. One is positional and the second one is keywords. So here in this macro, keyword macro parameters have been used, and the first keyword that has been used is lib is equal to, and the second one is rec record is equal to. And for these two macro variables, default values have been used. For lib is equal to work, which means library is equal to work, has been used as default for lib is equal to parameter. And for rec is equal to, so a dataset option called obs is equal to 10 has been used as the default option. So if we call the macro without any of the parameters, these two default values would be used. So, and it says a data step has been used to fetch the list of variables and get concatenating all of those things. And then another do loop is being used to print all the variable values. And here the rec parameter has been applied. So, which means this gets resolved to a library name, dataset name. So on this print step, so the library whichever we pass with lib is equal to would be used, and they have actually extracted the names of the datasets and looping that for those many number of times, and then using the dataset name here, and then rec is equal to parameter has been used. So if we do not specify anything, so what happens is this obs is equal to 10 dataset option gets applied to that dataset. So when we run it by default, it takes obs is equal to 10. So, and it says insert macro call here, and the question was which macro call actually prints the all the records from each dataset in library. So by default only 10 observations are being printed, so we need to tweak this parameter which actually gets all the observations present in the dataset. And the second thing is that we are being asked to use the db library for this printlib macro. So which means we are looking for db is equal to option on the lib is equal to parameter, and uh, the in order to fetch all the observations present in a data set, we either remove the obs is equal to option or use obs is equal to max option. So let us take a look at the options given. If to see on which options we have lib is equal to db defined, and where obs is equal to max is being used, or obs is equal to option is not used at all. So on the first option it says print lib is equal to db. So this part is correct because it is being asking us to use db library as input. And then the second option it says rec is equal to all. So with this option, when we say all for rec parameter, what happens is like this would become all here. So it assumes it as a second dataset name. If you take a look at here, we have a space between the dataset name and also the rec is equal to parameter. So it would consider it as a second dataset name being specified, and it would result in a syntax error. So this would not give us the required result. And on the second option, we have db is equal to is being used on the lib is equal to parameter. This is correct. And rec is equal to is being passed with a value of null. So default was obs is equal to 10 within parentheses. Now on this macro call, so the value is being passed as null. So what happens with this is when we specify lib is equal to db, DB and the whichever the dataset that is getting resolved to from this entire list of datasets present in the library from this step. And then this rec would actually result in a null value, which means no dataset option is being applied. So it would fetch us all the records from the input dataset. So in fact, technically there is no OBS is equal to restriction with this macro call. And on the third option, DB and all has been used. So here we have defined the macro variables, macro parameters using keywords, but here we are not specifying the keyword. So this would result in a macro execution error. And similar is the case with the last option. So we are left with the second option, and let's see if that is the correct answer or not. It says our response is correct.